Hey guys, let's give you a little, it's kind of a boring video. Let's give you a little update what's going on. Winter time's a little slower for us. We still got lots of builds going on. How many builds have we got going on? Let me see here. We got one, two, let's see. 3, 4, 5, 6, and there's 2 in the shop. 7, 8. Okay, so we got 8 builds going on. The last couple weeks on these videos you've seen the same vehicles over just because we got snowed in, obviously, and you see how I have the carports. I rotate one from the other, so usually we push one out in the carport, stays nice and dry, bring another one in. We kind of rotate that way there. Everyone gets their car worked on. No one's car's just sitting here and they're waiting forever. But anyway, we'll show you what's going on here. So you remember we took the bug off of the chassis. Alright, so Sean's been still body working that. You know, it's a time-consuming process doing this. So he's been doing all this, and he's done up in here because we're going to paint all this nice, just like the outside of the body. And now there's a little bit of welding to be done on it, so we got to get that taken care of before we continue with the body work. So hopefully we'll take care of that today. This is what we'll do on our, what will we call today, our Wicked Wednesday. That's what we'll do. We'll finish off a little bit of welding on the bug. So in the meantime, I put Sean onto the 67 Merc pickup. The box is all in first primer. So he's going to block all this box out. You can see he started blocking out the inside. He's going to block her all out, and he's going to get this sucker ready to go to in final primer. So we'll get the box all in final primer. We'll get the tailgate all blocked down, get that in final primer. That way there, those 2 major parts are done. We put them away, we forget about them, we put them under cover, we tarp them up. Well, I shouldn't say tarp them up, but we cover them up. And we'll leave them sit, and until the rest of the truck's done, all we got to do is bring the box in one day and just block it out, and it goes for paint. So that is what's happening right there. A lot of parts kicking around. A lot of parts. I got to try and tidy this up a bit here for Sean today, give him a little more room. I guess I could be a nice guy and crank the heat up for him a little early in the morning here, but I could get the heat going. It's a little cold. The heat's always a bit of a... There she goes. Heat's always a bit of a problem on that one to start up. Anyway, and of course there's all the parts again that you saw for the bug. And then we come outside. Or we come into the next bays, I should say. And this is the Merc for Craig's truck, the 67 Ford short box, which now that you can see the snow that was piling up, now we've got downpour of rain. There's Craig's truck in there. Now Craig's truck, that's the 67 Ford pickup. It's half of it's in 400 grit, half of it's in 600 grit. So we're going to bring that truck in next week. We're going to bring the box in next week, get the box all done. It's in final primer, get it all blocked, get it ready to go for paint. We're going to bring the cab in, get the box bolted on it, finish up the cab. We're probably going to be on that for a good solid week, and then that truck is actually going to go get a wheel alignment, and then it's going to take off and we're going to get her painted. Finally, we're going to get her painted. All right. So, I was cleaning up the metal shop yesterday, organizing all this. I kind of keep lots of metal around. I like to go through it all. I went through it, wrote down 18 gauge, 20 gauge, 16 gauge, quarter inches, tagging all in the corners, tidied up all the bullshit going on here. Once a year, you got to tidy up. Once a year, these are all little bits and pieces of scrap that we cut off that we save. But once a year, it just becomes a mess. So I tidied it all up and straightened her out, and away we go there. Okay, the Model A is still sitting there. I have done a couple little things to that, like I said I was going to, which you'll see on Sunday Fun Day. And Mike's working on the 54 Ford. He's been underneath it, welding away. What a pain in the ass this car is. All the undercoating and tar and the bullshit under this car. Oh my God. It's never ending, but it is getting there. And it's looking good. That's the main thing. You just normally on a car like this, for the amount of rust that it had underneath, you just blow the whole car right apart. But you get into that, you're getting into a full restoration. So right now he's fixing up. I don't know if we can see here. Oh, he's already done this one. Maybe we can see this one better. Anyway, he's put some patches in here. It was all rusted out. Again, like we say, we're just cutting the rust out, putting some nice patches in. This car is getting shipped to Australia, so it's just got to pass inspection. So that's what's happening there. Okay. Yeah. Now you might recognize this sitting on the floor. This is the motor that was in the Mustang. I feel so bad for this owner. He bought this motor. The guy told him it was a low mileage 289. The guy fired it up for him actually on a stand with no exhaust. And you know, I always say I like to hear things run with exhaust, but I get it's hard when it's on a stand unless the guy has, you know, got a proper stand. Anyway, we had the intake and the valve covers and all that off, and it looked okay. It looked clean in there, you know, and it had a fresh oil pan gasket, and the owner said just leave the pan gasket, just give it a paint job, and that's what we did, and we threw it in. And it did fire up. It fired right up, and it ran really nice. It actually ran okay. No smoke, no knock, no bang. And we had a dummy oil pressure gauge on it, like just hanging off the side of it, and it started out cold, like at 40 pounds, 45 pounds. But as the engine warmed up, with obviously it never happened when the guy had it running for the customer that bought it, as it warmed up, it dropped right down to like 5 to 10 pounds of oil pressure. And then when we went and pushed the clutch in to put it in gear, we noticed that the crank was moving in and out. So that's not good. Bearings are shot on the crank, things are moving around, there's where your oil pressure is going. So out the engine comes. And now we're going to take it apart and we're going to see what we've got to do there. And kind of puts a hold on the Mustang for a while. So you guys that are probably wondering, where's the Mustang gone? It's sitting in the carport, and now we've got to yank this engine all apart. It's the way it goes sometimes, you know. Maybe we should have fired it up on the floor ourselves and ran it a bit longer. Like I say, you know, there's no one's to blame here. Shit happens. You just take it, you smile, and it is what it is, you know. Like I say, the owner bought it off a gentleman who said it was low mileage, and that's what the gentleman, you know, assumed. And it definitely looked like a nice clean little motor from the top half through the intake and the valve covers, but you know, who's to tell what their oil pressure was at, right? Especially if the owner says he saw, you know, if the gentleman says, well, I went and saw it run, and you know, it is what it is. When he saw it run, I said, did the guy have an oil pressure gauge hooked up to it? And he said, actually, he didn't. There was nothing. It was just, he had it on a stand with a radiator, and he fired it up and ran it for me for like 5 minutes and then shut her down. And he goes, you know, he had him fired up cold, and it fired up just fine. It wasn't knocking or banging or doing anything weird shit, but obviously, as it got hot, it loses oil pressure. And you can't, and when you rev it up, when it's lost oil pressure, when it's warmed up, you rev it up, you're lucky if you get 15 or 20 pounds out of it. So, it's okay. That little car, anyway, at the end of the day, deserves to have a freshly rebuilt engine in anyway, if you think about it, because everything in that car is new. So why would you put a used engine in it, right? So the owner's not upset. He's happy. He's kind of looking forward to it. He's like, well, let's do this kind of cam now. So he's excited a bit. So right on. That's good. Anyway, hey, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Remember, it's always good time at old time. We'll see you next time. There you go.